Good morning, students. Today we will start with direct and indirect speech. We've already done it in the class itself. I've already posted some videos before as well. However, today I'll be posting a new video on the same topic, direct and indirect speech. Now, I'm sure you know what is a direct speech, right? When the words are actually quoted and we do not make any changes in the speech itself. And when we talk about indirect speech, that speech means it's a reported speech. You report the direct words of the speaker to the other person. That is reported speech, right? Now, I have an example here that will make it easier. He said, comma, inverted comma. Now, it shows that I'm writing the direct speech here. I am hungry. Right? So this is in the direct speech, you can see it here. But this is your direct and I change it into indirect. That means I'll report it to the other person. He said that, he was hungry. Right? So what I have done here, I have reported it. It is in the indirect speech. Now see, what I've done is I've removed this comma, these punctuation marks, and I've put a conjunction that here. We can see that. And whatever was there here, it was in present tense. It has changed in the past tense. Like, I'm hungry. That means he was saying that at that time. Now it's a past tense. He was hungry. Now, for changing anything from direct to indirect, we have different rules that we need to follow. So what I'll do is I'll take one rule at a time and I'll explain it. Right? Okay, now I want you to look at this sentence here. He said, I am busy now. We'll change to, he said that he was busy then. Now, when you are changing a sentence from direct to indirect or indirect to direct, remember there are certain rules. Now, if we talk about the direct sentences, the things that you have to keep in mind are, number one, the punctuation marks. Right? So you have to make sure when you are writing a sentence in the direct speech, number one that you need to keep in mind is the punctuation marks. Second, this has to be capital. So you can always write the first alphabet after the inverted commas. You have to keep in mind the capital letters. Capital letters. And then there's one thing that you have to keep in mind, the reporting verb. So there's always a comma after a reporting verb. Okay, now what is a reporting verb? I'm sure you know that. This is your reporting verb. Is that clear? So keep that in mind. For the direct speech, the words thing that you need to keep in mind are like punctuation marks. Make sure if it's a question mark, if it's a question, you have to put a question mark. If it is an exclamatory sentence, you need to put an exclamatory mark. In case if it is a normal sentence, the full stop and the inverted commas and the comma is important. Right? You have to take care of your reporting verb. Right, and the first alphabet of your direct speech, it has to be capital. Right, I'm sure this much is easier. Now see, what are the changes that we have to make when we are writing the indirect speech? The first thing is we'll remove the punctuation marks. The first thing that we do is we remove the punctuation marks, just the opposite of direct speech. Second, it says here, after reporting verb, we'll remove the comma and we will put a conjunction that there. Now you can see I've removed the comma and I've put a that. I've put this conjunction here. Right? Now there are certain sentences where this is not required, but there are certain where this conjunction that is required. We'll do that later on. Now see here, after that it is given here the question mark and the mark of exclamation. These marks are not used. Is that clear? So for example, if it's a question, you will not put a question mark after the indirect speech. Let's move ahead now. We'll start with the rules. We'll take the first rule, change of tenses. Now you can see that what I've done here is I've changed the tense. Can you see that? I am busy now has changed to he was busy then. Right? Present to past. Now this is what you need to learn. How to change the tenses. Let's take rule number 1. We'll take one rule at a time. Now, rule 1 says here, you'll have to remember the things. What are, I just adjust the camera up for you so that you can see. Rule 1, right. Now, reporting. Verb. Please remember, if the reporting verb is in the present tense or in the future tense. We'll take present or future. Then what happens? See, it says here, if the reporting verb is in the present tense or the future tense, the tense of the verb in the reported speech is not changed. Now, the tense in the reported, not changed. So, we'll not change the tense in the sentence. For example, I have a sentence here. He says, I am ready. Can you see the sentence? So it is in a present tense. It says, the sentence is, he says, I am ready. So when we are changing it from direct to indirect, the sentence will be, he says that he is ready. Clear? This is how we'll change it. So we have changed it, but we haven't changed the tense of it. Is that clear? It is in the present. Both are in the present tense. I have not changed it into a past tense. Now, what the step number 1 is, what you have to keep in mind, reporting verb, this. You can say, see, it is in the present tense, so nothing has been changed here. It is same. Now, let's see if it is in the future tense. He will say, comma, inverted commas, I am ready. We'll take the same sentence. He will say that he is ready. Clear? Again, it is in the direct speech, it is in the indirect speech. You can see that will say is your reporting verb. It is in the future tense, so no change. That means he will say, I am ready. Present tense, it will remain same. He will say that he is ready. Clear? So this is your rule number 1. It is easy, learn it. Is that clear? So if you see the reporting verb, the first thing that you need to notice in your direct and indirect is the reporting verb. So if you see that the reporting verb is says or will say, you should know that nothing, the tenses will not change here. Is that clear? We are talking about tenses. I'll write it here. And what is the meaning of the tense? Time. Good. So it will not change. I hope rule number 1 is clear. Now we have another rule here, rule number 2. Let's see what rule number 2 has to say. Okay, rule number 2 says if the reporting verb, I'm sure by now you know what is reporting verb. If the reporting verb is in the past tense, then it is changed in the one of the forms of the past tense. You have to keep that in mind. For example, I'll take one sentence here. It says, he said. Reporting verb is in the past. So there is a whole chain. One form to another form. Forms, you understand, we're talking about simple, continuous, or perfect, perfect continuous. These are the forms of tenses. Now see, he said, comma, inverted commas. I write a letter. Can you see the sentence? It is in the direct speech, I'm sure you know that by now. He said, I write a letter. Now the first thing that you have to notice is the reporting verb. Now for example, reporting verb here is your past tense. He said. I'm sure you know said is the past tense of say. So he said. What he said? I write a letter. Now second thing that you need to check is the tense that is given in the inverted commas. I write a letter is the simple present tense, right? You'll change it into simple past tense. That is, he said, I'll remove the comma and inverted comma, that, okay, he wrote a letter. So what I've done is, from simple past, I've changed it to simple, from simple present, I've changed it to simple past. So that's your rule number 2A. We'll take it as A. Simple present will change to simple past. That means write will change to wrote. Learn it. We have many rules here. You have to keep that in mind. One form to another form. Simple present to simple past. Now, for example, we'll make certain changes here itself. He said that I have written. I'll make some changes here. I am writing a letter. So it is simple. Not simple, it is present continuous. It will change to he was writing. That means past present. This is continuous present, past continuous. That means is will change to was writing. Right. what happened here? He said, I am writing. Am writing is the present continuous. He said that he was writing. So this is past continuous. Form remains the same. Continue will remain continuous. Continuous will remain continuous. Perfect will change to perfect. Simple will change to simple. So you have to remember that. Is that clear? This is it. This is the rule 2, second part of it. Clear? Continuous will change to continuous only. Present will change to past. Let's see the next one. It says a present perfect becomes a past perfect. Again the same thing. So perfect will change to perfect. Have written, had so have will change to had. This is the third part of your tense, second rule. It says, I have written a letter. It's not clear. I'll make it clearer. I have written a letter. So this have written will change to had written. Present perfect will change to past perfect. I hope this rule is also clear. Right? Please do not confuse yourself, but go through these rules. We are talking about tenses given in this part. How you change it. If it is like this, you change it back to this. If it is like this, you change it back to this one. Right? After this, we have another one. Let's move to that. It says here, a simple past becomes a past perfect. This is another rule here. For example, it is a simple past. And the sentence is, I wrote a letter. So what will happen here? It will change to past but perfect. Simple past will change to past perfect. Right? How we'll do that? Let's see. It says, he said that he had written a letter. That he had written a letter. Now you can see this is simple past. It has changed to past perfect. Right? So that is how you will be changing it. Go through it, it's important. Then simple past. Then in case if it is past continuous, it will change to past perfect continuous. See, it says here, a past continuous becomes past perfect continuous. A past perfect becomes past perfect continuous. Oh, I'm sorry, a past perfect and a past perfect continuous remains unchanged. You will not make any changes there. Right? Then it says here, will change to would, shall will change to should or would, can into could, and may into might. So you just have to keep in mind these basic rules when you're changing sentences from direct to indirect. Now, apart from that, we have certain rules that if we're talking about, a habitual action, if we're talking about a universal fact, then you have to make sure that you do not change the tense of it. So you have to remember if it's a fact or a universal truth, you're not changing it. If it's a habit, then also you're not changing the tense of it, right? Whatever the reporting verb is, you don't have to change any tense anywhere. You have to keep that thing in mind. Apart from that, we have different rules for assertive sentences. Now, there's nothing as such now. In case if it's a question, how you change it, we have rules for that. If it's an exclamatory sentence, how you change it, right? So I'll take that thing in our next video. Just go through this part and make sure that you understand how we are changing these sentences. That is it for today. Thank you.